And sometimes, and you know, I'm gonna say it, our people are just stupid as hell.
I'm gonna go to church for a second, y'all. So you know how people go to church. You know how people go to church and they become
right. And we vote for these black leaders, and we feel good about it because we feel they understand us, and then we send them to the state capitol to represent us. But there's 50 seats there.
We've had to hide. We've had to hide behind our uniforms, police uniforms. We've had to hide behind our executive suits. But when Trump came out, when Trump became so vocal, it gave us the ignition to come out and show who we really are. Racist. And you can see what's going on, everybody. This is TFG Tonight, Monday night, one day until the election. I am Lamar, and I'm pretty freaking excited. We have a lot to talk about, and I have a full house tonight, and so we can talk about some of the craziness that's been happening. I got my gold microphone tonight too, so you know it's about to be on, all right? So Trump, Biden, who's going to win the election? Are we going to have an answer tomorrow? I doubt it. But let's bring our panel on. Let's talk about it. Let's chat a bit. Let's chat a taste and see what everybody thinks about this whole Biden-Trump presidential election. Tobias, what's going on? Dwayne.
Hello.
Wade.
What's going on?
Aaron, what's up?
How you doing there?
We all over the country tonight. We got Dallas, we got Florida, we got Aaron, where you, DC?
Washington, D.C.
We got DC, we all over the place. Fort Hood, I think, right?
Yeah, I'm from Neverland.
I don't know. We don't tell nobody you Neverland.
I'm a lost boy.
Y'all gotta excuse my hoodie though. You know, I'm getting a one night free from the field and I'm tired.
It's all right, you're getting your Trayvon on. Let's represent. So let's jump right into this. Jump right into this thing. We know tomorrow is the election. I'm like, I don't know about y'all, but I'm like so amped up. I can't wait to see how this turns out. I'm a little nervous about what's going to happen because the building where I live here downtown is all boarded up. And I'm trying to figure out why we boarding these buildings up, what we expecting, what's going on. Is Abbott gonna send the National Guard, or what's gonna transpire? Because we know people are already acting an idiot just a little bit with the whole Trump train. I got to talk about Trump for just a moment. And I want y'all's opinion on this Trump train. For those that are watching that don't know about it, Kamala and Biden had an event, a campaign event here in Texas, and they were escorted. They were escorted by a group of Trump supporters in trucks and flags, and I hear guns, I don't know. And they were escorted, so to speak, down the highway to the point to where they were slowed up to 20 miles per hour, weren't able to make it on time. Some see that as a bit of intimidation. Tobias, is that voter intimidation? Is that intimidation to the campaign? What are they doing?
Man, that's not intimidation at all. You know, if you want to talk about intimidation, let's talk about the left and trying to intimidate, black conservatives. That's intimidation.
Let's get this party started.
That's intimidation. You want to talk about intimidation? We were just, I'm going to for them out of the state of Texas. We're not trying to turn blue.
Just for my clarification, it was my understanding it was not the fact that there were cars surrounding the bus. It was the type of maneuvers the cars were doing with other Biden supporters who were with the bus. They actually were ramming cars on the freeway. And I think that was something there that was thought to be criminal enough that the FBI is now looking into that. So I think it's kind of dangerous to make somewhat light, knowing that this particular country's history of seeing some extremists on either side doing things that are somewhat unseemly. So I think that we have to be real. Escorting a bus, that is not intimidation. But when you start to do things where you're putting other people's lives in danger and they have to cancel the event because they felt it was no longer safe, that is intimidation by the core of the definition.
Okay, gentlemen.
So wait a minute.
Wait.
Tag. Go ahead, bro, because I got
Okay, I want to say this. Now, y'all both are saying something. How does an opposing party escort their opposer to another place?
They don't.
Right.
Escort.
I've never seen. Listen, that don't even happen in the hood, right?
Right. They don't.
Okay,
They don't escort.
You'll
That
never get escorted by your opposing partner, right?
Right.
They trying. So let's what my man say. Let's have some integrity, some honest integrity here, and let's call a spade what a spade is. I don't know if it's voter intimidation because there wasn't no polls over there, but what there was that was some straight gangster stuff, right? That's that stuff you see on AMC, trying to ramrod people, right? Because they want them to leave. Now I don't know. Listen, where I'm from, they tried to ride that East Berry and Fort Worth. Them jokers went to work. So I'm just telling y'all. I don't know if y'all want to call that something different too here on this, but I'm just telling y'all. Now don't. I hope this ain't no Rodney King misunderstanding of the videos tonight. What you get.
Well, it goes to intentionality.
But it was really no intimidation.
Yeah, no.
Wait a minute. I can't.
Intimidation, and we have to be very clear about the facts of what happened.
Right.
Like the facts of what happened is that the cars became reckless and they were doing things on purpose, which caused the campaign to cancel the event because it was no longer safe. That is intimidation.
That's right.
What you got, Dwayne?
That is the very definition of the word.
Absolutely.
So,
I agree with that.
So for you gentlemen, if you're coming into my city and you trying to, spread your message, just hear me out now. Do you hear me out now? You coming into my city and you trying to spread your message, and you're a red person, right? You're a red person and I'm a blue person. You coming into my city and I don't like you. So I'm just gonna ride my cars up, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna try to deter you from staying in my city, in a sense, intimidate you, because now I have brought my people out and we're like, go, we're like saying whatever we gotta say. We don't like you, basically making it known that we don't like you. We're doing everything that we can do. There are other forms of intimidation. It doesn't have to be an aggressive form of intimidation, but that was a form of intimidation. That is exactly what it was. And you can't sugarcoat it. You can't try to dress it up. And that's the problem is, conservatives and wherever, you do what you do. But I tell the truth, that was intimidation. Yeah. You come in my hood and you riding I'm riding through, and then all of a sudden you try to ride your car, you riding beside me, you honking your horn, you doing whatever you doing, you trying to intimidate me.
It wasn't
so we have examples of that. We have examples of this in the past.
So hold on. So let me just jump in here. So first off, I did not know we were watching a real life version of Grand Theft Auto, right?
That's exactly what it was.
So nonetheless, right? Even in Grand Theft Auto, one of the missions are intimidate one of the drivers.
That's right.
You're gonna hit that car to get him out the car, whatever. That's right?
That's it.
So here's what this was. It was intimidation. It was also irresponsible, and it was dangerous. And the fact that you had these Trump flags doing it, the young man who occupied 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue did not come out and denounce that. So here's the fact is that if you have people flying your flags high, cool, proudly, doing whatever they have to do, it is your responsibility to say, hey, do not do that with my name on your truck.
Exactly.
Right? Because that was coming, hold on. That was coming across. You can't, I support that.
How do you say that when you have riots in the streets that are not
Wait.
Wait a minute.
But people trying to fight for. There's a lot of people talking. I'm sorry.
All right. Let's make the person that's talking big so we know. Let's go to Aaron real quick.
So first of all, he asked a very clear question. He said, how does he do that? First of all, he articulates and he uses his words. And he says, if you support me, this is how we're conducting our campaign. It's very simple when you have and you set forth standards as a leader. Okay, so you can any type of disruption, confusion, everything starts at the head. So if the body is showing this type of violence and doing these types of things, and the head does not say this is wrong, well, then the body will continue to do that. And I think that to think that this is a Republican or Democrat, this is just simple decency. And so to hear conservatives rally behind saying, oh, well, that's okay, or making an excuse for a lack of decency, I find it to be sorry. It's just a sorry state of affairs that you find your party in. And I think that your party is on the way to demise if this is all you are left doing. And especially being a Black conservative too. We don't do that.
Can y'all go to Brenton Big? Give me 60 seconds. I just want to contrast this with one thing. Now, there was a mayor of New Jersey who threw a little shade on his opposer by making sure that traffic was held up and the lights, the street lights and everything like that. He used his authority to impede the progress of an opposer. And he got more smoke than Trump getting. And they were all up in arms about what Chris Christie did to that person.
The governor.
Yeah. So I don't understand why in the world is everybody fronting. Matter of fact, he said he loved Texas. And then he told y'all why he loved Texas. So I don't understand where we misrepresenting. Listen, looting and what we saw on the video, those are two separate entities. They both have their own calamities, but you're not gonna sit up here and say that you're gonna try to justify one for the other. Nah, man,
it's not justification. It's not justification. What I'm saying is, it's hypocritical to say, well, this was irresponsible, but then you say, well, it's two separate things if you think about this. No, it's not. It's one in accord because it's all about.
No, it's not hypocritical. Let's not hypocritical.
People are getting.
This is not hypocritical. Let's not. What
we're saying is that this is wrong. That we're saying that
like hypocritical is you saying that what far as with the Trump train in Texas, you said that that behavior was irresponsible and that President Trump needs to denounce it. But
so did the FBI.
The same situation happened on the left, far as the riots are concerned. You know, what about that? It is one in the same.
Hold on, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Nobody asked us that, though.
Wait a minute. So you can't bring the riots. You can't coincide riots. You can't link riots to what's being done. These people are rioting for social and racial injustice. And that's a part of your First Amendment right to freedom of speech and to be able to protest.
They targeted a campaign bus with people on it.
Exactly.
They are surrounding a bus
specifically
with a candidate.
Targeted a bus. They specifically. That's like going out here and saying, "I'm gonna specifically target you as a Black person and come after you."
I don't understand, but nobody's arguing with him.
This is the biggest point, right? Is that
his point? Though.
The biggest point, right, that I'm making that was not addressed was why didn't the President of the United States articulate clearly? Oh, because he can't. Why couldn't he be more of a third grader? Sorry, not to insult him, but why could he not articulate in just the finest form of exactly that we do not do this? This
he
is
agreed
not
with
what
the
I
bad
represent.
behavior. He agreed with the bad behavior.
Correct. Even his son Don Jr. said right before this happened, go and have some fun. And we understand those incomplete sentences and those little Morse codes is what those people understand. Right. And therefore, that's what he is. So you can't what I'm trying to have you like try to put in front of your plate is not the fruit that you're trying to deliver to me. Right? So therefore, you're not apples and apples to me. You're doing a whole different thing.
So for me, like me as a commander, if I go tell my soldiers, if I go tell my company to go shoot and plunder and pillage, they're gonna do what I tell them to do. Or if I say a subliminal message like, "Hey, well, we can just go do what we want. We can take anything in this village we want. Nobody's gonna do anything."
Who's arguing with my man though? Nobody's arguing with him that both things are wrong. But I want to hear his opinion about what we're talking about. Was that wrong?
I say it was.
I have no problem with what they did.
Wow. You have, wait a minute.
I have no problem.
No, I want to be clear. I want to be very clear. I want to be very clear.
Wow.
So you have no issue with
what the heck you got a problem with other cats doing?
Because what we're seeing is
I want to be very clear. You're telling us that you have no issue with cars surrounding a campaign bus with the principal inside, and the purpose of them surrounding this is to impede them getting to where they need to get, to the degree that they become unsafe on the road and cause the campaign event to be canceled altogether.
So the video in question showed accidents being done.
Yes.
And all that stuff.
Yes, this is why the FBI is investigating it now.
So they're what I'm saying, asking you. So there are cars.
Yes, you see it. No. You see the car literally ram into
So
the car next to him.
accidents? Was anyone hurt?
Hey, did you
wait a minute?
My mama just
There was no accident.
Are you?
No. Hold on. One last thing. I'll be quiet. One last thing.
Anything other than that.
One last thing. So you tell me a bunch of white folks who have on all of their clans.
So you know it's all white folks in that whole Trump train.
Listen, new scenario. All white people with their clan stuff who are just riding by your car and they ram your car and almost cause an accident. As a matter of fact, you have to cancel whatever you're doing to begin with because you don't feel safe. So when you call the authorities for help, you want them to tell you, well, did anybody die? Did you have a wreck? Well, we can't do nothing. No, that is wrong. So you have to have a clear difference between policies and right and wrong. So we can have a different idea of how to get certain places, but how to conduct yourself as a decent human being and American used to be the foundation of your party. And you are not exemplifying that right now. Even Ronald Reagan said, if you believe in certain things, you do not need to be in the Republican Party. So what are you talking about?
At the end of the day, we have rules that you have to observe in traffic. I mean, take the whole campaign part out of it, sir, if that bothers you and you can't look past your partisanship. We have rules. You're not allowed to just do whatever the fuck you want on the highway. That's not how
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so here. Can I ask a quick question?
I talked for 5 seconds. I would like to talk for 50 seconds.
Go ahead.
What I'm saying is, you and your buddies can't go out and surround cars on the highway and distract them from driving and surround them. Forget the partisan part of it. Forget the politics part of it. There are rules that you have to observe on a highway, and this clearly in violation of those rules, if nothing else, violation of those rules. And you say you can't see anything wrong with that, sir. You should probably not be driving.
Okay.
That's like first degree murder because you're sitting here thinking about I want to run this person over.
That's what he said, Kendrick.
Is it okay? Because I'm going to compare apples to apples on everything. So it's okay for Black Lives Matter to block the highway, to block impeding all traffic, to get their point across. It's okay for them to do that, but you're complaining about my party escorting the Democratic candidate out of.
They're not escorting. Were they hired to escort?
Wait, hold on.
They were not hired to escort anybody.
Let me answer your question. Because when they do that, they are removed from the road. You know why? Because we have rules. You're not really allowed to impede traffic. When they do that, they're removed.
Why are we spending time on this?
I'm trying to figure
I can't.
They were not removed.
So now what?
Okay.
They were not removed.
And we already know. Wait.
So hold on. So I can honestly say, yes, they were. So in the great state, the People's Republic of Florida, right? Black Lives Matter protesters did impede traffic on I-95 West Palm Beach, Florida, and they were removed very instantly because I was on that highway, which caused a good hour blockage.
Right.
So I don't understand how
in Atlanta.
Here's nothing. Well, hold on. How do I? I'm sorry to whoever I just interrupted. I don't understand how you're comparing Black Lives Matter for what they're doing. They were impeding traffic for a cause, for a reason. I disagree with it, but they had a clear reason. What reason?
The laws, right?
The law is the law, but to your point now, to go law is the law. You just said your succession rate is, was anybody injured? Do you know if anybody was injured? Do you know if anybody was psychologically
I asked
damaged?
you guys, do y'all know anybody that got injured?
I don't want
The question based off your success
I
rate.
don't need to know.
I don't want to answer that question.
I see what he's doing. I see what he's doing. What he's doing. What he's trying to do. He's trying to have a success. He's trying to have a success point.
I'm gonna bring it in so we can go.
I don't have to have a success point. That's my opinion.
All right, so that was quite interesting. So I think it was definitely intimidation. I think that if the Black Panthers or the We Don't Give a F organization that was over in South Dakota, I think, wherever it was, they walk around the street with their guns, if they did the same thing, I think they'd probably be locked up, shot, stabbed, you never know. It wouldn't be the same for a group of Black folks, in my personal opinion. So I think it was wrong. And I also think the other stuff is wrong. I think all the violence and intimidation is wrong. I feel like we have to go beyond that. So this is supposed to go into voter intimidation, but I think we spent enough time. Let's go to the next topic on intimidation.
Well, wait. I think wait 1 second, because you can't go into whether or not Texas will turn blue if you don't address only having one ballot box in each county in Texas, one place to put your ballot, and then on top of that, today for some reason the southern states find it to be archaic to not allow early voting to go all the way up until election day. Why are people not allowed to vote today? And then why is it that in Black and brown areas in Texas, there are less places to vote? Matter of fact, in South Carolina,
voter suppression.
It's a new way of voter suppression, man.
As an independent, I've always been kind of like, I ain't no voter suppression, ain't none of that, right? So I've always been like, the Democrats is complaining like always, right? But after seeing what they're trying to do in Houston, trying to throw out 160,000 ballots that were done through the drive-through, I'm like, come on, really? Luckily, the federal court threw it out, and it wasn't. They were still able to count the ballots, but now I kind of see what Democrats are talking about when they talk about voter suppression. What do y'all?
Well, this is very common because it's not difficult to determine which areas are going to have most heavily Democratic turnouts. It's never a mystery. Those areas of each state are well known. And what happens is if those states are run by Republicans, what they'll do is they will make it more difficult through funding issues and other types of issues to make sure that those voting locations are well funded and well provisioned to handle the amount of votes that are anticipated. Now, here's the good thing about Texas. And I personally do think that we're going to see some surprises this cycle. Texas has registered 3 million. I just want to preface this. Hillary Clinton in 2016 lost Texas by about 817,000 votes. She lost Texas to Donald Trump in 2016 to just about 800,000 votes. Do you know how many Democratic voters have registered in the state of Texas since Donald Trump won in 2016?
You accidentally.
Over like 3 to 4 million.
3 million.
I'm one of them.
Democratic voters, or presumed Democrat, have registered to vote since Donald Trump took office and won the election against Hillary Clinton by 800,000 votes in 2016. Texas is going to deliver some surprises this time. Not to mention,
but how many new Republicans have registered to vote?
Not to mention the fact that Texas. Not to mention the fact that Texas used to had a Democratic governor at one point, right? And so I do think Texas is going to deliver some surprises over the next.
Ann Richards, was it Ann Richards?
Yes, Ann Richards was the last one. Yeah.
Hey,
Madison, hang on, real quickly, Madison. How many new registered How many new registered Republicans?
She don't care about them.
I don't know, but
because I see the point she's trying to make, but let's
all right. So this is what I want to say about.
Here's the thing. Okay. I also think that we're going to see some. I've got actually congressional in Texas. So what I'm saying is, all of the polling that I've done in the areas that my people, our candidates are in,
I've been seeing some soft support there. I've been talking about this for a while. I see 10 to 15% soft support by Republican support for Democrats, and I think Texas is really going to deliver some
Okay, so
surprises.
let me say this, Madison. Thank you. I want to say this. Number one, I don't understand why are we all up in arms about what they're doing when they give you almost 2 weeks to go vote. So the reality,
that ain't it?
well, I'm being very lenient with my stats, right? So I'm saying this moment, like instead of getting up arms that they're doing certain things, just take what they give you and go handle business. Like I didn't have a problem. I went and voted. Matter of fact, I voted last Tuesday. So it's not the fact that what they take it. I mean, they're gonna listen, man. We're gonna always be put in some type of adversity, but we can't play like we can't get out of it.
Well,
just figure it out.
I think that this has been a different cycle because of COVID, and I do think that one thing that's different about I've been in politics as an operative for a decade, and one of the things that's happening in this cycle that's never happened before, and it probably is because of COVID, is that they have been emphasizing early voting. You'd be surprised how many people just really did not know that they had everybody, because every election that you've ever heard before, it's always election day, November 3rd, November 3rd, November. You never hear about early voting unless you're already plugged in. And
I don't think that's
a
because
lot of people are really just not plugged in. So we've been emphasizing very strongly, in part because of COVID, but in part because we wanted to make sure that people got to the polls and we were maximizing turnout. That's something that I fault the party for not doing more of. But absolutely, I think this is the first cycle that I've ever seen where we've emphasized that election ends on November 3rd, but it's happening for the better part of October and November, right?
I just want to point out we have two people from DC on right now, Madison and Aaron. So that's exciting to me. Go ahead, Aaron.
So, as all I can say, somebody who's run for office in Texas, who now lives in Washington, has worked on campaigns, both federal and locally there. It's very interesting how the local board of elections really lack in communicating with its constituents, with the general population, especially Black and Brown. For instance, in Navarro County, in Corsicana, there's a place called the Bears Den that's in the Black part of town, I would say, and that place where people have traditionally voted for early voting during the primaries for years, people walked there and discovered that it was closed. Now, that closure was not discussed or really expressed to them. There may have been a small notice in the newspaper, I'm not sure. But when I called the judge expressed to me, said, hey, this is not a voter intimidation. Actually, this has been made more easier for people. People seem to like it. Mind you, Black and brown people are calling me in Washington concerned about them not being able to vote. And then he said during the general election, more places would be open for them to early vote. What does the governor do? He only opens one place in one county, one per county for you to go and vote. So meaning if you lived in a rural community like Goodlow, where I'm from, I would then have to travel more than 20 miles to cast my ballot to vote. So that is a problem, and that we should really discuss. Both Democrats and Republicans could have done something greater to ensure this was not an issue. But in this particular cycle, the Republicans have really played upon this, and that is a form of voter determination, discriminate. Yeah, intimidation. Not only that, though, it's something that can prohibit Texas from going blue if they are successful in doing it. I think that's something that we must really hold on to. With the amount of minorities that are in Texas alone, there's no reason why Texas should not be blue already. So I think that scares a lot of people. But I think within the next 4 to 8 years, Texas definitely will be blue, in my opinion.
Is the fact that Texas now blue, is it due to the fact that a lot of the minorities here aren't legal?
No. Well, wait a minute. What information do you have that backs that? That's a false premise. Most minorities are
just curious.
The real truth is that he brought up Navarro County. He brought up Navarro County, and I'm gonna tell you half the reason that you talk about with your question, Lamar, is because out of a population of about 40,000, only 9,000 of them voted. That's the problem. So it ain't about. So it's about people not taking interest. I mean, And to my man's point, I understand if you got to go 20 miles, man, make it happen. You know what I'm saying? Because what? Grandmama and them said they had to walk in the snow to school. They say they had to walk in the rain. I mean, just tell your story. I had to drive 20 miles.
So here's my question. Hold on. Here's my question.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we got to figure it out.
Right. Just have a bunch of questions, right? So I understand everything that the Republicans are doing. I keep hearing for the longest, no matter what state you're in, Republicans are doing this, Republicans are doing Y, Republicans are doing Z. What are the Democrats doing to mitigate or to kind of counteract what the Republicans are doing? Right. So that's a shame. I hear, okay, well, you have one ballot box, you got to drive 20 miles. Well, do the Republicans say, all right, well, volunteers, if you have a car, go knock on people's doors, drive them, or maybe bus it.
Yeah, where that counteract?
Get a school bus, get something of that nature. I understand all that costs money, but there's a lot of money out there. Right. So that's happened. So that has happened, or that is happening.
That has never stopped happening. At least since the 1960s that I know of.
No, I'm talking about 2000. I'm talking about.
I said it's not stopped since the 1960s. I mean, even when I ran for office in 2004, I mean, people were giving folks ride to the polls. The problem is when we come to people being interested in voting and interested in elections, there's a lot of voter intimidation that happens on people's jobs. With their employers, especially in rural communities like Navarro. For instance, when I was running for office, I went to get my hair cut, and my barber said, "Hey, I'm choosing not to participate in this election." I said, "Why? I know you would support me." He said, "Because the guy who owns this building is running against you." So there's a lot of forms of voter intimidation that with people. Wait a minute now. I don't want to. No, this is what happened. Yeah.
No, I understand, but here's my question, right?
Okay.
From my understanding, and I've just been on this earth for just like 30 plus years, you are not able to tell anybody who you voted for. So what stops your barber from saying, if the guy that owns that shop says who you vote for, to say, hey, because he's scared. Fear of what? But hold on. So if he can say, okay, who'd you vote for? I voted for you, sir. I voted for you. Of course I voted for you.
The same premise could have been used for the slaves on the plantation. What the four people who lived in the big house? Why did they stay on the plantation? You can use that same premise there if you wanted to, but it doesn't quite.
What I'm hearing is a lot of excuses as to why stuff is not happening versus it being a mitigation plan.
We can you hear the excuses from a space of privilege to a degree, because African Americans who have never been shown their voice, never been in Navarro County and a lot of rural places throughout the country. Black people did not experience the great civil rights movement. The civil rights movement was highly middle class, upper middle class, lower middle class, and to those people who were able to travel to rural places to make this thing happen. In places where I came from, there was no great civil rights movement. That didn't happen there.
Why are we talking about civil rights? How are we talking about civil rights movement?
Because voting is civil rights.
Okay, so we're missing my point.
This doesn't just happen with Black people. I have a friend in a rural community in Georgia. I have a friend who lives in a rural community in Georgia, and she is a Democrat. And there are very few Democrats in this town, but these people have chosen to support the Biden-Harris ticket. And one woman in this group that I am in because I have friends who live in this community, lost her business because of it. Lost her business because she put a sign in her yard.
That's different than what they're saying.
These are very real. These are very real, consequences. I live I'm here in Washington D.C., but I have a home in a red county in Florida, Polk County. And even in 2008, when Obama was running for president, I really had to give some thought as to whether or not to put a bumper sticker on my car, because I knew I would be subjected to being run off the road, or my car being vandalized. These are very real things that happen. And granted, people don't know how you vote, but as a Black woman, I think that people assume that I would be voting for the Democrat, right?
That's an assumption, right?
I'm subject to these types of concerns no matter what.
So can I ask you a question? Why do you no it's not. Why do you not read the room? Right? So when I say read the room, why do you understand? So you said that your friend that was in Georgia, right? I'm guessing she was in a Republican county.
And
Why
she's
would you put
white.
it?
She's white.
I don't care what her color is. Okay, she was purple.
I'm just
right?
saying. I'm
So
just saying that.
I don't. But the point is, right, is why not read the room and understand? Example, if you know that you're in a Republican county, why put a Democratic sign in there?
Right.
Why put yourself in them situations? And before you say, right, before you say, hey, the American public, hold on, can I just finish? Let me just finish. Before y'all say, oh, they're an American, they have the rights, just read the room before you do anything. And to oh sir,
that's a choice.
And to old sir that was talking about the civil rights movement, right? Why do Democrats continuously go all the way back to that far versus this is like an antiquated thought process versus what we have right now? Understand what the situation is and make the mitigation plans to that. So you can't tell me that I'm thinking of a solution back in 1960s, 70s, 80s that's going to affect something in 2020, right? Or even 2016. Right, so that's what bugs me. That's what bothers me about the Democratic Party.
Wait, but okay, so but is that if that's the wait, can I just?
Well, not you, Madison. I'm not you, Madison. I'm talking about the general.
Okay, wait. So if to use that logic, I mean, we just saw what happened with the Supreme Court, and part of the way this happened and the vitriol that Mitch McConnell and those people who've had in the Senate against Democrats went back to something that happened all the way in the 80s. What I simply stated was that you asked what had Democrats have been doing. Well, in places where Democrats may be, but they're not in power, they have done busing. They've done all those things that they've used also in the 1960s, even still today. Things like souls to the polls and everything they could to make sure people could get to the polls and have the assistance to do so. But those who are elected officials and those who are in power, it's those who are running for office, both Democrat and Republican, to ensure that we have an energized electorate. We know this. And that's not always happen when you have certain forces when it comes to people who are using different forms of intimidation with targeted Black Democratic voters. And that's something you just have to acknowledge.
I want to jump in. Tobias. Tobias,
I think it's really important.
All these Democrats argue. I'm the only conservative on the panel, though, Tobias. But I'm curious to know what you think.
I see that already. I see that.
No, you're not the only conservative. I'm a fiscal conservative. I'm not a Democrat, and I'm not sure if everybody else. I think there's one other person that might be a conservative. I just don't want to say it now. I don't know for sure. But
I think it's really important. Here's the thing. I think it's really important that I don't disagree with you. If you know the challenges, you try to you can see it coming. You do what you have to do to not have those problems. I will say, however, and I'm not here to defend the Democratic Party wholeheartedly. My consultancy is set up in part because I feel that they are not doing everything they can do, and my super PAC is set up in part because there are things that need to be happening that are not happening. The party's not going to do. So I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, the Democratic Party is doing everything. They're not. But I will also say we need to ask ourselves why some of these communities, why there are these disparities. There are rural white communities that have that people don't have to drive 20 miles to get to a polling station. And we need to ask ourselves why that's happening. We have to acknowledge that there are disparities, and those disparities are unconstitutional. They are against the values that we have as Americans, that people should have access to the right to vote. And there should be equal and easy access for everyone. So if you have one rural community with 600 people in it, and the people can just walk down to nearest school or the church, and they have precincts in that little town, well, in this community over here of 5,000, they should have an equal and commensurate amount of ease in getting to the polls. And if that is not happening, then we need to ask ourselves what's going on and why is this disparity exist, and who's responsible for making sure that it doesn't exist. In fact, it's not really the Democratic Party. It's not really the Democratic Party's job to make sure that voting access equal. It's really not. This is an American issue. This is a constitutional issue.
And that's what I wanted to say. So we got the Constitution. We all know the Constitution was created for equal rights and everything amongst men and everybody. Everybody knows what we fought for voting rights and everything. However, things were strategically set in place to ensure that even though this was written in the Constitution, it was underlined saying that no, not everybody is created equal. I don't care what you fought for, but as long as I can strategically place it to where you can't do it, then it's not going to happen. And it's not a Democratic thing, it's not a Republican thing, it's a person, it's a people thing. And we gotta get out of this whole thing. Oh, it's the Democrats, it's the Republicans. It is a person deep down in their soul, the hatred they had towards somebody that don't look like them. And that's why they're in certain counties, in these rural counties, they have certain people they have polling stations that are, like you said, Madison, that somebody can literally walk across the street and cast their vote, as opposed to another county within the same county, another city within the same county, they got to drive 20 miles because it's strategic. And it's the same way in healthcare. They're strategically set up to where, oh no, this group of people, because the census is done, well, this group of people, we're going to keep them over here. Classism versus classism is classism all the way around. And we got to look at it like that. And until both parties come together and say, hey, hold up, what was the Constitution written on? What was the Constitution founded on? What did people fight and die for? Did we fight and die for this stuff to go on, still to be going on over 400 and some odd years later? No. If it was written in the Constitution that everybody was created equal under God, and I know some people don't agree with the whole spiritual thing, it's all right, it's whatever. But if we're all created equal, if we all get up, we all die, we all bleed the same freaking color, why in the world is it so hard to come together and what there is a disparity?
Put Shantae's coming up. Sorry. Shantae has a comment. She says, some of us don't vote for party. Some of us pick who we feel is the best candidate for the job, regardless of party. I'll speak on that, and then we'll go to the next topic. That's basically what I'm doing this particular election cycle. While I lean towards conservative policies, and I definitely feel like this particular go-around, we need to get someone other than Trump. I wish Romney or somebody was running, because Biden still, I'm not have to do my have to take an Alka-Seltzer every time I think about it. But I'm voting for Biden.
I'll buy them for you. You need me to send you something?
Make us all equal so I can see their faces. I'm just saying, but I feel like I'm choosing this time. I'm choosing civility over divisiveness. I'm willing to sacrifice the next 4 years to get back to some sort of normalcy or reset, because I feel like Trump is definitely a divisive, hateful person that thrives on attention. He's a narcissist, and he's not doing anything to help bring people together. He's more so dividing, even if his policies, and it can be debated whether his policies are helping or not. Even if they are helping, there's too much divisiveness in people. Tabias, what are your thoughts on if Biden wins? What's next? What happens?
Well, I get to live my life per usual. I won't like his policies at all. I won't like his tax policies. I won't like his immigration policies. I won't like, him, thinking China is good for us, and they've been stealing from us for years. But, that's just my personal opinion. I don't want Biden in office. And every example is being presented to us every single day why he don't deserve to be in office. Like, I don't understand it. Like, this dude said the same thing, divisiveness that you're speaking of, Lamar. You ain't black. That's divisiveness right there. I'm and then you have the left-leaning people who, if you say that you supporting Trump and you Republicans being black, they attack you. They say you're Uncle Tom. They say this, that, and the third. So who's creating the divisiveness?
I can't, for me, Tobias, I'm gonna be honest with you, brother. And this is real talk about your side of the aisle. Because listen, I'm an equal opportunist. I give the left and I give it to the right. And I'm finna give you something right here. That when you hold your hat on the premise that Joe Biden said something that offended you, and then you turn around and embrace Michael Myers. I don't understand. I don't understand your logic in how you have an issue.
I'm a believer in action. And Joe Biden has really been, yes, I am. And Joe Biden has been a career politician for 47 years. And I can't name one good thing that he has done. So when I look at Trump, who's not a career politician, who is a businessman, and you can say, well, you know, he went bankrupt, he did all this, but guess what?
Those are not lies.
Has not went bankrupt. What businessman has not had trouble in business and then recouped his money back? So I'm just trying to understand, like, why give Biden a chance when this man has proven to you already that he don't deserve that chance?
How do you recoup over 200,000 I got a question for you though. Right. So what you say that that Biden agrees that China is good for us. Okay, so let's look at this on a power level. Mm-hmm. Everybody owes everybody across the world. We owe China just as much money as China owes us, and we could go on and go on there. But what good has it done for the nation in itself? Do you not realize that at any given moment, somebody can actually push a red button and launch an IBCM that has been re-equipped and refitted with more nuclear capabilities now than it ever had? But you want to sit up here and talk about somebody's not good for? Nobody is good for anything because nobody's really attacking the major issues that are really going on across the world. So I don't understand.
Well, I believe you take care of home first. I know I was raised that you taking care of your home.
Take care of home.
Hold on. So here's my point, right? Here's my point. So we say that Trump is a businessman. Okay. So let's just talk about the last biggest thing that he's done, which is horrible, is coronavirus, how he's handled it, right? So we're talking about 200,000 lives. Okay, let's break it down real quick. All right. He hears about it from China. It comes over here to Washington State, right? Washington State, he understood exactly the damaging cause that its effect, right? So now, why not did you take the precautions to take care of the people, right? That's what a businessman does. Understand, sees the problem, resolves the problem, right? Mitigates that problem. Oh no, he did not.
The estimated death rate that the scientists said was going to happen was 2 million.
I was over there when the coronavirus broke out, man. There was no stopping. Nothing cut off.
Stop that, sir. That is a lot, right? Stop that immediately, right? So 40,000. So my man,
I was there off, when it started, man.
Hold on, let me finish, right? Let me finish. So I was in a different country when this coronavirus epidemic happened, right? Therefore, I see how quick a third world country shut it down, right?
I come back in Korea and I can agree with you.
Hold on. So I come back from third world country, they shut it down, cool. I fly back in the States, we talk, and that third world country, we talking masks, we talking gloves, we talking mitigated people, limited people inside of an establishment. I come back into the States within a day or two, no mask, no gloves, nothing, right? Therefore, he doesn't even consider a federal mandate for masks. What he does is he franchises the United States of America and says, this governor do this governor do that. Oh, schools got to reopen. This, that, and the third. And through all of that, my man catches the coronavirus. What kind of horrible businessman does that? You go through that situation and you catch your own. Man, come on, fam.
Can I say something real quick?
As soon as coronavirus broke out.
Can I say something real quick? Wait, can I say something? 2 parts. First, you talk about China's not good for us, and Trump's a business person, but all of his gear is made in China. So let's just start there, right? That's one.
Okay, well, guess what? That's everybody, bro. That's everybody. Everybody makes stuff from China. Even Nike does.
You're talking about Trump. Yes. You're talking about him. He made a clear business decision. He was going to go with China, but he doesn't want Biden to rock with China that he's rocking with right now. However, I'm sitting on this
because he's going to give China
wait 1 second. I'm with Biden. I am here with antibodies. I'm here after going to family funerals through Zoom and through Facebook. And you want me to believe, as I live in Washington, D.C. and can see the people he does right up the street, you're going to tell me that this man has, as a good businessman, that he has actually mitigated this the right and proper way after all of the professionals and the experts who are sitting around him are telling him exactly what to do, what plan to follow, so that we have the less amount of loss of life as possible. And you want me to believe that because he owned a business and he handled those businesses poorly and that he bounced back from bankruptcies, you don't bounce back unless you go bankrupt, all right? Mm-hmm. And then You want to tell me, oh, sure, let's rock with him one more time. How much good sense does that make, sir? You defend that for me.
227,000 people are dead because of that
Bottom line,
business decision.
when it comes to the
I
coronavirus,
could have been dead. Through all of that.
I want to hear him. No,
I could have
died.
Go ahead, sir.
But did you die though? Did you catch it?
It doesn't
And
matter.
if you have the 99.5%
Do you not understand science says that many people that are walking around right now are asymptomatic with coronavirus? We don't know who has it. What part of that do people not understand? We don't know who
I just really
with
believe you guys
coronavirus
are
right
really
now.
close-minded.
I'm sitting up here. I had the shit. He's gonna tell me I'm close fucking.
But you're not dead.
But then I died.
You survived. Just like you survived.
Madison.
You have so much.
The president survived.
I had it. Listen, I had it. You have so much faith. Go to a COVID unit without a mask on, sir, and then believe in Trump.
I got soldiers who caught coronavirus and got sick from that crap. And you want to sit up here
The question, the bottom line, this is a 2021 expectation. Donald Trump is a failed businessman. He's a failed human, and he's a failed president. My 2021 expectation is the inauguration of Joe Biden and seeing Donnie Boy hauled off the stage in handcuffs by the New York State district attorney. So that's what's going to happen in 2021. That's exactly what's going to happen in 2021. And brother Tobias, notwithstanding, he may still be in the Donald Trump camp, but there are a lot of Republicans who are not. A lot of them who are decent people who can see that he is a failed businessman. He's failed in leadership at leading this country. He's a failed president, and he's going to now be a failure, and he's going straight to jail. That's what 2021 is going to bring, and that's where we're headed right now. Period.
But okay, so excuse me, sir. I'm the least racist person in this room. Oh, I'm sorry. But nonetheless, right? Nonetheless, if this was The Apprentice, he would fire himself on the way he's handled the coronavirus, right? So it is for. So how can you actually say that? I mean, maybe you're saying it and you believe it. I hope you don't. But nonetheless, there's no way. There's no way we can tell we're closed-minded. I could give you solutions on how I would have handled it better than what he can. So I'm interested. I'm just really interested in for you to actually articulate exactly how you believe that this man is actually good at. So tell me,
how would you handle it?
Oh, easy. Thank you for asking me. Thank you. All right. So first off, I would have had a federal mandate on masks. Right. First off, I would listen to science. I would listen to Dr. Fauci, who's been there since Obama and Clinton, et cetera, so forth. Right. Then I would have actually
dismantled the China CDC that was in China either. You probably wouldn't.
And you showed up when they pulled out the World Health Organization.
Boom. Right. And therefore, also, right, I would have stockpiled all. Right. I would have made sure production was ramped up and given all that to the hospitals. And then for the American citizens,
how would you have done that?
Oh, how would I have done that? Okay, the same aerospace companies, all the same manufacturing companies that were saying, hey, we can make masks. I would have used them. They would have been all hands on deck, and that would have gone right to the hospital. Number two, to the American people, I would have had a federal mandate for masks, and then I would have done phase reopenings based off of that federal mandate. And by this time, if I was president, guess what? Y'all would be breathing healthy without masks on right now. And that, sir,
and I
is how.
And I bet you wouldn't have called it a hoax, and you wouldn't have
correct. I could articulate better than the guy in the White House, okay? So therefore, it would have been a real clear message.
I have a question. Okay, so I agree with the shutdown. However, how do we tackle what that does to the economy? How do we combat that? Because let's be honest, even with the shutdowns, there is going to be repercussions as it relates to small business.
We don't have to shut down. We don't have to shut down. We did back in March.
Really
but what I think is going to happen in 2021, and I think this is the right way forward. I think that we have to be very smart about how we do this. Shut down in March. I think part of the problem with conservatives is they think that it's all or nothing. You either have life the way it was always done with no masks and everything back to normal, or we're all locked down in our homes. That is not true. I'm living here in Washington, D.C. We have high compliance in our region. And let me tell you, it's pretty normal. You go out, you do your thing, you got to do what you do. Because people are wearing masks, we have high compliance, and the numbers are not climbing out of the hospitals are not overwhelmed. We don't have numbers going out of control. Why?
The only place in Washington where they're not wearing masks is at the White House, where they're catching coronavirus. And that's
right.
the doggone.
I'm interested in what Tremaine has to say.
I think what happens in 2021 with this, I think you have to be smart about it. We can't shut everything down, but unless we absolutely have to. And in March, we were in that space. What I'm hoping that Joe Biden will do is he will express to people, listen, I'm going to do this thing for you. This is what I'm going to do. I need you guys to wear masks. And in exchange for masks, what we're going to do, we're not going to shut down the whole country. We're not going to go back on lockdown fully, because we recognize that people need to be able to go out and do things. We need to keep supply chains open. We need to be able to have some semblance of normal life, and we need people to be able to go to work and to do the things that need to happen. But we can't do those things safely if you can't wear a mask. So I'm hoping what Joe will do is say, I'm going to provide a stimulus for people who, there are certain states where there's really, really hot spots. We're going to do a rolling shutdown, sort of the way they did in California. I'm hoping he'll do something like that. So the places where it's really out of control and the hospitals are overwhelmed, those places may have a little bit more strict lockdown situation, but a stimulus will go directly to those businesses and people in that region to keep them okay for 2 or 3 or 4 months until they flatten that curve and the hospitals are able to manage. And then you can start to ease up again in those regions, because I'm telling you, where there's high compliance, life is pretty fucking normal.
And we're able in Washington, as someone who's in Washington, I'm here in DC with you, you can literally go and handle your business, because I walk outside and people are complying. And when you comply, you actually are helping save someone else's life. I think the essence of knowing that Joe Biden will provide the type of leadership in saying that masks are not partisan. I mean, starting out, think about it. When he first got the news about this violence, about the virus, he could have called the mayor of New Orleans and said, hey, you know what? I don't think Mardi Gras is a good thing, right? He got the news about what was happening before Mardi Gras. He allowed Mardi Gras to go down, knowing what could possibly happen.
And he let Derek Days happen in Corsicana too. I can't.
Right, I'm interested in what Tremaine. I'm interested in what Tremaine has to say. To be totally honest with you,
Tobias.
Tobias. I'm so sorry, my man. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I hate when people mess up my name.
But I'm saying, man, it's not his fault that people go do stupid stuff. I'm telling y'all, if Trump said jump off a cliff, I'm not doing it. You know, I'm just saying it's just dumb. That's like being irresponsible as a human being, right? You telling me I don't have enough brain cells to put in my mind that if they tell me don't go be distant, but I go to Mardi Gras, you can't blame that on Trump, bro.
Well, no one. First of all, he did. But the thing is, he did not address it at all. Matter of fact, before Mardi Gras, he had the opportunity to say, you know what, Mardi Gras does not have to happen. I remember when I was in the military, we had a certain basic training. We had a class on how to wipe your ass. We had a literal class, and go and listen to it. And I went into it. I was like, this is stupid. Everybody knows how to wipe their ass. We're all here. But believe it or not, there were 3 people in there who have been doing it wrong this whole time. So you have to be able to, and you have to really, literally, but you have to do this because we all have to be working from the same facts so that we all can have each other's backs and we all know the same standard so that we may all survive. He did not start there. He did not start there. With that
perspective, we in bigger trouble then. If you're telling me that people are that people are that
well, they are
Nimrods. I hear y'all, but that's what I'm saying. Then why are we fussing about what the politicians are saying? It's the people.
No, because the thing is,
it's about leadership.
I'm all about leadership. I'm gonna tell y'all something.
I'll give you an example. In Florida, in a particular county, I won't mention the county, they did not have a mask mandate at one point.
We've been talking about Navarro all this time.
And very few people were wearing them because there was no mandate. And then the numbers started to get bad, and the county commission And the leaders in the county said, you know what, we got to make this mandate. And you know what happened? People started wearing them. Now, I had the same reaction that you did. I said, I can't believe that people need someone to tell them to do this. What the hell? What? Just
but
do
they
it
do.
Or don't do. Like what?
Right.
They do.
But honestly, and I feel your frustration because I was right there with you. And I said, well, what? Do you mean to tell me they wouldn't, just because the government said to do it, they did it? Yes, they did. Yes. And guess what? In about 3 weeks, the numbers started going down. I don't have to like it, but I'm telling you, that was an example of it.
Hold on. We are children.
The strength of the power. Okay, the strength of the power of suggestion. Like as I'm a jazz artist professionally, and so when I'm doing live shows and nightclubs or whatever, we did an experiment about 10 years ago. So if I walked up in front of the audience, right, and I had a glass of wine, a simple glass of wine, by the end of the night, we saw wine sales go through the roof. If I walked up with a spirit, my spirit is gin and tonic. If I had a gin and tonic, you saw people buying spirits throughout the whole room. But if I walked up with a glass of water, you saw liquor sales plummet. The power of suggestion is very, very, very important and very influential. And so I think the
other people saying wear a mask, man. So it's not.
But not the president. We did not have a president.
They know he's a liar, so it doesn't even really matter if he said
you had enough of them, but you have enough people who listened to him not say it and decided to follow his and then not wear them.
Let me ask you a question. How many black people believe the president when he said he helped black people?
Well, there's one on here tonight.
Well, no, I'm just saying, because y'all talking to y'all, because that's what I'm saying. Everybody been talking out of two sides of their mouth, and I'm telling y'all, it ain't a lot of black people that believe that Donald Trump helped all black people. So we can't say the power of suggestion. Well, I mean, I'm not even saying that
I didn't say everybody about liquor. I didn't say everybody about liquor.
But my whole point is we can't keep pretending as though people need to hear Trump say something. We need to hear Trump say it so everybody do it. Because I promise you, them knucklehead white. Okay, and I'm not saying knucklehead white people. I'm saying just the knucklehead people. Period. The people that are out here, they don't want to do it because they don't want nobody to tell them what to do.
No. Trump. Remember, Trump was saying stuff. Now I'm going to interrupt you. Trump was saying stuff to his messaging was it'll go away. It'll dissipate by Easter. It'll go by summer. So by the comment,
we didn't know anything, bro. We didn't know anything.
Yes, we did. We did.
Not the majority of people.
We
know
the
majority of people
because the messaging.
Of the heat. We did know that.
Man, we had two different conversations coming out of the White House.
We literally had the example of this happen in 1918. Exactly how it played out. We knew that we saw how they mitigated this in 1918. We saw the power of what would happen if you were not honest with the American people, that you would have more loss of life. Well, that happened. You knew that if you wore a mask, it would mitigate the situation. We saw it happen. So I don't understand, yes, we know that you will never have 100% compliance. You will always have knuckleheads who you can't tell me what to do, but you will have enough people complying where you can reduce the loss of life. You can reduce the exposure. But in order for that to happen, you've got to have the president of the United States leading that conversation. And he was not doing that.
I found that, but I just don't want all the blame to be on him.
So we're gonna move to the next thing. We're gonna go on and go to final thoughts since we're over time. We're gonna start with Ms. Madison. We're gonna go around. Madison, Aaron, Wade. What are your final thoughts? 30 seconds.
The 2020 this election this week, I think we're going to see a lot of surprises. Like I said, all of my polls, everything that I've been observing, I'm noting 10 to 15% very soft support on the Republican side. And I think that we're going to see some surprises tomorrow and in the coming days. I feel that there's going to be a strong thing. I do have some concerns about domestic terrorism, but I think that, we'll get through this as a nation. And I think in the coming days, we'll begin to turn a corner back toward civility and competent governance.
Okay. What?
I think that I'm going to still be black after all this is said and done, and there's going to be certain issues that I'm going to have to deal with no matter what. I think that once this election does happen, and if Joe Biden does win this election, that we'll be better positioned to help get something closer to shared equity, shared equality, things of that nature. I think that if Donald Trump is reelected, that we will be that much further away from that. And I think this election has showed the power of a vote, the power of the third parties not waiting till election to try to build up something, but really the power of what the independent really means. Because the independent can really make or break the situation, and we hope that they are choosing decency over fear.
All right, Mr. Wade.
All right. So I am very proud of the People's Republic of Florida. I've been on here a few times, and you've heard me talk about my issues with trying to register to vote. Well, the people of Florida here, they actually they did their due diligence. They stepped up to the plate. I actually had to change my license, right? So I had to do some little maneuvering to change my license. I was able to vote. My vote counts down here in the state of Florida. I voted last Friday, or 2 weeks ago Friday, and I'm happy. I am hoping that Kamala Harris is our new VP and Joe Biden is her accompanying president. And yeah, I am, but I really believe that it's going to be a really close call. I believe we will finally find out something by the 10th of November. And if Trump is in office, just realize that you have to play Grand Theft Auto on the highway to escape. But just don't die. You'll be all right.
Mr. Haynes.
All right, people. I'm gonna say it once, and I'm only gonna say it once. I need to get what is that? All right, listen. My hot opinion is this: no one party can fix our problem. The damage has already been done. It's matter of fact, what Donald Trump did was only exacerbate what was typically hidden under the shadows. There's a problem with this country. Human beings can't fix it. I don't care if Biden get 8 years or if Ted Cruz get 8 years next year, next 4 years, whoever. Oh, I don't care. I'm just telling y'all, we can't fix the problem. All right, until we fix classism over racism, we're gonna always have issues. So, and that's not changing because the people who have the money are not gonna give up the money, and the people who have the power are not going to work together strong enough to get the people with the money out of power. That's my problem with this country.
Mr. Dwayne.
Well, I hope that this re-election brings about some normalcy. Honestly, I believe that we all have to see exactly what's going on in this country, and I just hope that it brings this whole country together. And I hope that we're able to see that people that are in positions now that need to be gone, they need to get about it. They need to get moved out. They need to get voted out. They need to get elected out. And and hopefully this gets us back to the heart of the people and not the pocket or not the mindset, because it's bigger than what a lot of people think it is at this point. So this re-election, this election should, I hope, change the nation with a new party and some peace, man. That's all I want, some peace. That's all. I'm tired. That's all I got.
Right. You're only gonna get it when you go to bed.
Mr. Tabias.
My final thoughts is Trump 2020, and I will continue to be a free-thinking man, and I will continue to take advantage of the opportunities that are in front of me, from the minority-owned business, from the 8A programs and certifications that are available to me as a person of color. So I'm not going to use the excuse of I can't make it. I'm not going to use the excuse of there's no opportunities for me, and I'm going to continue to move to the next level, because I know that it's me and me alone that keeps me down, and not any other party, not the Republican Party, not the Democratic Party. So I'm continuing to be that person, continue to be that man, and that's my final words. Trump 2020.
Hey, Tabias.
All my life I had.
Hey, Tabias, don't leave, man. I want to ask you a question when we get off here. Don't leave.
Right.
All my life I had to
my
fight.
Thoughts. Okay. Wow. Okay, so we're going into a very interesting day tomorrow. I don't even know what to expect. However, I'm hoping that it comes out with a Biden win, unfortunately. But I feel like the pressure definitely has to be on for the Democratic Party going into 2021. All the stuff that Q talked about with his contract with Black America, all the stuff all these other folks talked about, I think we really need, Diddy as well, we really need to hold the Democrats' feet to the fire as it relates to what Black folks want. If there's even a consensus of what Black folks want. I don't know if we all want the same things because I'm a conservative, but I have the personal sense as it relates to I want some civility. I feel like no matter how great a company is doing, if the boss has no morality and the morale is down amongst the team, it's a sinking ship. And I feel like that's the case with America as it relates to Trump being in leadership. So as Tam said in the comments, we need a reset. My hope and desire is that we get Biden in, but only for a short time. And let's get us a good conservative back into the White House in 4 years to keep the economy where it needs to be. Those are my final thoughts.
It'll be my President Kamala Harris, by the way.
Hey man, don't leave, man. Don't leave.
That's our show. Y'all stay on if y'all want to the end. We can go to the back room and talk if y'all want to, but let's roll that beautiful footage.